suddenly, when your team first gets on offense, you notice the quarterback and the center shift positions. And they stay that way for the entire game. What do you think the outcome's likely to be? Now you get back to work. You go to work on Monday. And the first thing you hear Monday morning is there's been a sudden change. The wonderful top accountant in your company, that detail-oriented, rule-following accountant, has been shifted to the marketing department as the senior marketing analyst. And to make matters more interesting, the marketing analyst, that creative, out-of-the-box thinking marketing analyst, has shifted and taken the accountant's place. How do you think that's going to look? See, these examples have three things in common. Number one, in each of these situations, the person's been asked to play out a position in roles that do not fit their innate gifts and talents. The second thing these two stories have in common is that even with the best training, development, and coaching in the world, these people will never excel at what they're doing. The third thing these have in common is the person behind these decisions should get fired. So how does this relate to the workforce? When I talk to business leaders, I commonly hear that in their organizations, the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, applies. And what they tell me is that 80% of their people, or 20% of their people, do 80% of the work. And the reason this is so important is that these people, these 20% that they commonly refer to as top performers or A players, typically produce 3 to 4 times more than their low to mid-range performers. And let me tell you the financial impact that has. Let's suppose for a moment you have a 10-person department with a total payroll cost of $1 million. And every one of those 10 people are low to mid-range performers. You can replace them with only 3 top performers, get the same results, and save $700,000 in payroll. Let's look at it another way. That same 10-person department with a $1 million payroll cost or investment that are all low to mid-range performers. If you switch them out with 10 top performers, you would expect to get 3 to 4 times more production on that $1 million payroll investment. That means you were looking at $3 to $4 million higher productivity with those same people. Now, when you look at that, you say, yeah, that's great, but realistically, how realistic is that for our organization? Well, you're not going to transform within a year where everyone's a top performer. But if 20% of your workers are top performers, and you can certainly move that up within a year to 30% being top performers. Let's look at the impact of that happening. If you went from 20% to 10%, that increased 10% would be top performers. Let's just say instead of 3 to 4 times, they're producing 3 times more than their predecessors. What you're looking at, 3 times 10%, that's 30% greater productivity in your organization. If you had a $1 million payroll, you're looking at $300,000 extra productivity. If you had a $10 million payroll, you're looking at $3 million extra profitability, most of which should go to the bottom line. Now, when we think about the job of a manager, of management, of leadership, the most important role of a manager, the most important responsibility is to maximize the return on investment of their people. Peter Drucker, probably the most famous, respected management consultant in history, has this quote: the role or the primary job of a manager is to make people's strengths effective and their weaknesses irrelevant. Let me say that again. The primary job of a manager is to make people's strengths effective and their weaknesses irrelevant. So how are you doing in that even if you think you're doing a good job in that area, would you like to do better? Could you do better? Let me give you an example of a company that did do that. There's a company in the Pacific Northwest, building products manufacturing company, and they were operating at break even. So they were selling at 10 million in sales, and they were losing a little bit of money, making a little money another year. And they tried a number of different efforts to increase profitability, none of which had any significant impact. They decided to give this employment alignment process a try. And what they were able to do is go from break even to $3.2 million in profit within 2 years. And what they did was actually simple. There was no magic to it. What they did is on the sales side, they made a commitment that they would only have salespeople who were innately wired for the specific type of product and customer base that they have. And they were able to increase sales from $10 million to $13 million with fewer salespeople. And on the production and overhead side, all they did was go through this alignment process, and they were able to produce the increased amount of production to meet the sales with far fewer employees and drastically cut their cost per unit of product produced. So they were able to increase their productivity or their profitability by $3.2 million with this process. So they made people's strengths effective and their weaknesses irrelevant. Now, I became fascinated with this topic several years ago because of a 22-plus year career in the recruiting and retention industry. And in that period of time, the longer I was in it, the less confident I became in the ability to predict whether people would perform well or not. I saw numerous examples of people being hired or moved into positions who had the ideal experience, skills, and education, who bombed. And then I also saw numerous situations where people seemingly were total lacking in the required skills, experience, and education that became top performers. So, frankly, toward the end of that 22-year career, I almost was completely lacking in confidence that I knew how to predict. So what I did is I went on a quest. I decided to look and see if I can find any organizations that do, on a regular basis, successfully predict whether people will be top performers. And what I found is that there actually are organizations that consistently get these outstanding results. What's interesting is the difference between these organizations and the rest is that they simply have a different mindset and process. They simply go about it in a different way. And what I'm going to share with you here today is the mindset process and the process they go through in order to get these results. That thing is right on there. Yes.
This was turned on.
Oh, you had it, you switched the thing? The switch on it?
No, it's on. I realized afterwards you had it turned it on already.
I had it was on.
Yeah, it was on. I didn't touch it.
Okay.
I assumed it was on, and then I realized I didn't check with you.
That's
Okay.
the answer. That's the answer that we wanted.
I assumed it was on, and then I realized I never checked to see if it was on. It would be like that Chinese baby adoption. It's like, you guys have to go through this again.
I don't think I could.
So,
You have a really nice presence and comfort in front of the camera and the microphone. That's a good advantage. The humor in the beginning when you talked about the 3 common elements and then you said and what guy needs to be fired. I'd like to see a little more humor peppered in throughout because you're very businesslike.
right.
And that is how you make money. But the way you get customers is connect with them and tantalize them with why they want to sit in a room and hear you or hire your services.
Right.
And humor can be peppered in to help keep them engaged.
And once I get going, I have more stories with humor, but I could put that more in the beginning too, to engage with it.
Just a little bit throughout.
Yeah.
When you started talking about the 10 employees and the $1,000 and all that kind of stuff, and I have a background in project management and almost 30 years in corporate America, so yes, I get all that stuff, but it still kind of makes my eyes roll back in my head a little bit. A slide that shows an image of like the 10 workers on one side and the 3 workers on the other, something that's an immediate visual that equals the same thing, might be something you want to consider.
That's a great, and then I can say, here's these 10 people, these same 10 people, we're looking at 3 times more productivity.
Yeah.
Well, and you capture the visual learners too.
That's
Right. So in other words, get less detail. I really got into the
You can do
mathematics.
both, you can do both, but
Say
to
the same
Pam's
things, but-
point, you get too tight. Everybody learns a little bit differently.
Right.
And when you start having, because you have to explain that a lot, and the visual kind of sums it up like this.
I would still go through the math, but I would.
Yeah, you can still go through the math, but,
No.
or not.
No math. The math lost me. I'm not a math.
But I'm speaking to business leaders.
No, you're not. Hold on, you're talking to people. I'm a business leader too. The math, describing math, was too, you did too much math.
Right.
You gotta, if you're gonna describe math, you have to tell a story to describe math. And if
And
you're
that's
gonna
a
use
better
it,
way.
and if
That
you're
is a
gonna
better
use,
way.
because you started doing
I
calculations.
did, yeah, so that they knew I wasn't just coming up.
Just watch the tape. You do the calculations and see if an 8-year-old can keep up. Because that's the level of math you have. If you're describing math, you're describing math, which is harder than math. Math is hard, right? So you're just trying to say, look, put the right people in the right place. It's a great metaphor when you start it, right? And there's no one, and the message is clear. There's no amount of training, coaching, or development you can do to get Matt Ryan to block any one of those 300-pound linemen ever.
That's a great way.
You're frustrated because you're insane. Now, that's my methodology, right?
Right.
Tell them to clear. And you and I share a lot of the same business, and I'd love to talk to you. That's not the point. The point is, I got lost in the math, and I got lost in your point, which started to get, the structure started to get a little weird. The other thing, and then what I really liked is that you told about this thing, this employment alignment process, right? A program. And that's the hitch in your giddy up, correct? That's the thing that you
Right,
do, that's
that's
your
right.
special sauce, right? So, why don't you talk more about that? Like, hey, look, you can do it by flipping a coin, you can do it by sizing them up, you can do it by race, color, religion, sex, body size. You can do it by all kind of crazy methods, which, by the way, as you know, that's how people do it.
Right.
They don't admit to doing it that way. They make an emotional decision.
They hire people that they think are more like themselves.
But the whole point of your program is that you follow a predictable process that puts people in the right place so you maximize their strengths and make their weaknesses irrelevant. So those are your messages that you got to keep going to.
So are
It's a
you saying
process.
so I don't need to go through how to explain the quantitative?
They don't care about, I mean, they care, but they only care that it produced results.
So I can say that the sizable difference, we're talking about 3 to 4 times more.
30% more productivity.
Bottom line.
Bottom line is,
Bottom line.
the message is clear. You put the right people in the right position or you fail.
So even if you went from 20 to 30% of your being top performers, you're looking at increasing profitability by 30% because those people produce 3 times more.
You're talking in front of a room. You're not analyzing the situation. You're talking to CEOs, you're talking to accountants.
No, I'm talking to CEOs.
Okay,
Not
they want you to solve the problem. They don't want you to sell them on doing more work to solve the problem. They're tired of doing the work that doesn't work. So you just got to say, look, I got a process. My program follows a process that's predictably going to get 20 to 30% more productivity out of your people. Now, which people would you not miss in your organization? Because the people that piss them off, right, are the same people that are still there, and
Well, it's also alignment where you can have people shifting position or roles.
course, get the
But
best
the point is
person.
not to get less specifically quantitative with them. is what
You don't
I'm
have to. You just got to tell them the
Got
outcome, big thing, outcome, result.
I got something. I was a manager for 27 years. And whenever somebody, as I got older, mentioned the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule, I'm going to blow my brains out. Because that's all we hear all day long. So if you, that's really basic stuff. I'd be careful. I would say something like, you know, we've all heard the 80-20 rule, blah, blah, blah. But to his point, what's your secret to transform your listeners' world, your corporate managers' world? Because you're giving all, you know, big picture stuff, but they've heard all that crap before. You've got to, you know, what is your system and what's your system?
I do get into that.
You know?
I do.
Okay, so that's cool.
But there's not enough time to do that here.
Yeah.
Right, and I was working on this part because I felt like I could do this more effectively.
Yeah. So, are you doing showcase?
I'm not in ProPath, but
You're not in
I'm going to be in
ProPath?
ProPath in January. I
Okay,
think.
all right, so you're not trying to get to a January 10-minute speech?
No, but I'm
Okay.
trying to get some video that I can
Got it.
start utilizing.
Okay, so I would encourage you to talk more about your system. And the reason I say that, I agree 100% with these guys. I got lost in the numbers, and I think a lot of your CEOs, you know how they work. Their executive summary, move. They're gonna be moving on to the next thing. But the message of increase the strengths, minimize the weaknesses of your top performers lands. That's wonderful, except for the fact that everybody's always said that, and it is really hard to do. So if you have a unique way to get there, that's what I want to know.
Which is what I talk about. It is
So
proven.
otherwise, that everything in that eight, it's roughly around 8 minutes. Everything in that 8 minutes was just a build up to the thing that's actually of value.
Right.
So for video, I would encourage you to kind of come back and find a 10-minute segment where you can talk about how you would increase strengths and minimize weaknesses, or how you would maximize those top performers within an organization. Because that's the thing that's different. Everything else is, and this is getting outside of the speaking thing, right?
Right.
I think you have great presence. I agree with Laura in that. I definitely think more humor, fewer numbers it makes sense when you're one-on-one, but when you've got a group of 30 or 40, you're going to lose half of them.
Right. It's the content. The point is to get them moving forward. I'm interested in talking further. I'm not going to make a sale then where someone says how much.
Exactly. Yeah. So you didn't sell me anything, right? So I already know this, right? I know the Pareto principle. I know that you got to maximize your top performers. I know that if I can have fewer people in my organization that are doing more, that's going to be more profitable. I just got no idea how to get there, right? So that's
so I can cut back on that whole detail stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Along those lines, I'm a content person too. I'm not a business person, but as a physician, I see this all the time, so I'm there with you. I struggle with this too. I was telling people about the GABAergic receptors and the neurons, and people were like, ouch. So one strategy you could do, because what they taught me in ProPath was that our keynote is to make people feel something. Feel the problem, you're the person that's going to solve it. They don't need to have all that data. Where you may put the data though, you might consider a breakout session. You have a breakout session, a separate workshop. That way, those people that want to have that granular, because you've got the granular people in the audience, they can go to that.
Well, and breakouts is maybe a high proportion of what I end up doing.
So you don't have to do all that there. You're trying to emote and give them something. Give them a nugget. They're busy people. Give them a nugget. What can I take out of here? I need to do that too. Okay?
Right.
But you are confident, poised, polished, experienced. And I think, one more point, you've got so many stories. I mean, I was with you with the math, but too many stories. I thought your presentation started when you talked about the company that went from break even to $3 million in 2 years. That made me sit up and say, what? You might consider putting that maybe forward. I mean, I liked your example of the football in the first part of your speech, but it's we gotta put that, choose one story or two. That's all. I think that'd be a great story.
Right, and then along the way, I'll tell the story why I got into this, why I became fascinated with this. You think that should go? That's not necessary. It's not helpful.
Because you're saying what you already told us. It's a problem. You're reiterating that you're interested in the problem. You know you're interested in the problem because you're presenting the problem, and you have a solution for the problem.
Got it.
Right, just to take a note, like you came out really radiant there, like your shirt matched your eyes, looked really great, but as soon as you start talking about the numbers, did you notice your vibration dropped?
Right, because I'm getting analytical. I'm not here, I'm here.
Right, so recognize.
I'd rather not, I don't want to be analytical. It's a story I have in my head that, show me the numbers, show me that seems extreme, prove it. So I've got that, that's my own head, but the point isn't to prove it, is to sell the overall concept. The concept makes sense. If you have people doing what they're aligned to do, you're going to get better results. You don't, and that's self-evident. You don't need proof.
True, but the secret sauce is how do you do that?
Right, which is.
Because a lot of times in jobs, that Peter principle, you did a good job at this level, so we're going to promote you to this level.
Yeah,
Okay?
and then
And you do
No
okay.
idea how to manage.
And then there's an opening, and you did so good at this level that we're going to promote you to this level. Well, now you don't have a clue, and you're pissing people off, and you're not making money, and now they just fire you. And you're like, what? And the company's unhappy, the person's frustrated.
That happens all the time. People are in jobs that are not aligned.
But that's nothing new. What's new is how do you get that person who is so good at this level, and you don't want to pigeonhole them, how do you find out what their skill is so you can move them here, or you can move them here, or you can move them somewhere where they can take that skill and apply it in a different area. That's the magic.
Just to finish the point I was looking to make too, like people, like what I've heard is people hear what you're feeling rather than what you're saying. So like when you vibration dropped, there were, we were dropping with you. So if you kept your feeling.
I would love to cut out the analytical part.
You have our permission.
Okay, good. I'm going to leave because that's not my, this is getting up and, because that's a lot of work to explain. And I'm going to do a lot of work to try to explain.
It is a lot of work. We don't want to work that hard with you.
The analytical example about from break even to 3.2 million is not.
That's great. That's not analytical. That's a case study.
I didn't even know.
And look, by the way, there's also another case study you didn't talk about. There's people who didn't use your process. They tried to do it on their own. So comparison and contrast. So here's what most companies try to do. They try to blah, 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 blah. Whatever the people in the audience have tried that they know doesn't work, just use those examples.
Which is the thing about my experience of 22 plus years in the recruiting retention industry. And I left that out. I also saw them using multiple personality assessments and interview techniques, all with very mixed results. So that's where I said, I have no clue now. That's why I went on this quest. So that fits.
I got a great stat for you, right? From a guy named Dan Harrison who runs the Harrison Assessment. Without a process to just hire people, you have a 32% chance of hitting it right. Without a structured process, right? That's why Brad Smart and all those other guys top grading all that work, right? Because it's just a structured process. He said, forget that if you don't have a process, flipping a coin is a better option because it raises your odds from 33 to 50. And you're better you're better at flipping a coin than whatever you're doing now, which isn't a process. So your message is, you have to have a process. You can't improve a process that doesn't exist.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, everyone does have a process.
They think they have a process, but they don't.
They do have a process, but it's an unconscious process.
It is. It's more process map to do.
No, it's not. It's not a process.
It's a
because
checklist.
It's not rigidly held. They
It
still.
is not used. It's not.
They don't use it.
ever.
They have it in a book, but they don't. I know for a fact they don't.
Different
use it.
each time.
But I'm going to tell you that if you hire based on a coin flip, you're not going to be accurate 50%. You're going to be mostly inaccurate still.
I'm just telling you, the guy who's a math professor. You can talk to Dan about it.
Because most of the people, if you interview 10 people, if half of them were a good fit, that would work. But only maybe 1 in 10 or less are a good fit that you interview.
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying he's smart. He said it. It makes a good point. Who's counting the facts?
Right.
Only an analytical guy would say, "Oh, the percentage is 48%." Like, whatever, dude.
Okay.
He did the math on 6 million applicants.
Wow.
I don't know if you.
But that's assuming that half of them were a fit.
No.
Brad, I think you should just
Brad,
accept what
what
he's
I'm saying
saying.
Go talk to Dan if you want to figure out his math. He's a math professor and a psychologist.
Right.
He's got the assessment tool that raises it to 70% and more. Go talk to him. That's all. The point is, it isn't working because they're frustrated. That's the emotional connection. They know they're not working because they're not making the profits they want, and they don't know what to do about it. Otherwise, they would have done it.
Right.
And they don't have your process.
That's the whole point.
That's the solution. Is your program fixes whatever problem they have. If it doesn't, you walk away and find somebody else.
Bingo.
So
Okay.
Brad,
That's it.
can I just offer, you and I
Can
speak
you,
to.
can you cover that with him
Yeah,
again,
I
so that we
will.
give Laura some time? I just want to make sure that we.
Oh,
do
yeah,
that.
you can do that, because I don't have a lot, I don't.
Well, that's all right. Well, we can ask a lot of questions, I promise. Yeah, just
No,
cover that with him.
you and I speak to, I'll talk to him individually.
Yeah, that's fine.
Look at
Yeah.
content points.
Yeah, perfect.